All right, we're live. Welcome to the Proudmasculine live stream. March 28th. Getting another late start. My days and nights have been so busy lately. I don't know what to say. Just getting home, just settling in. I had a full docket today. As I do every day, I really do. But I wouldn't have it any other way. I was having this conversation with Mrs. Proudmasculine on the phone a little bit ago on my drive home. And just telling her that I love my life. Love it. I look forward to being a part of my life every day. When I get up in the morning to the time I go to bed. Like, I can't wait. And my belief is if you're going to be living life, why not have a life like that? What's up, Dev? Why would you want to accept less? Why would you want a mediocre existence? When there's all this beauty and splendor that life has to offer. And of course, I told her she's my cherry on top. Because that's what a woman should be to you in life. You know, some guys think it's noble to have the woman in the center of their lives. And he's like, oh, I couldn't live without you. I need you. I don't know what I would do with her. The woman wants that position. Nor is it even healthy to have someone that you need. You should be a full, complete, well-integrated, well-rounded person who shares that life with another full, wholly integrated, well-rounded person. That way you're a complement to each other's lives. And she's a complement to your life. And that's important too. Because if you are that whole, integrated, well-rounded man who's got all these areas in life that are just awesome, why would you want to invite somebody who would derail that or make it more difficult for you? You wouldn't, is the answer. But yeah, it's important that it's a compliment to your life. Having a woman in your life is a compliment. She's an addition, not somebody that brings you down or drags you back. Dragged you backwards or makes it harder. What's up, Mason? What I say is, when I come home, my home is my sanctuary. Doing well, Mason. How are you? Is this Christian talk? What are you talking about? Why don't you quit typing and listen to a few things and you can tell me. No, Ryan, I do not smoke weed. What's up, Christian? So, what's up, Gretchen? Thank you, sweetie. Who is this guy, Sangpi? Are you weird or something? Get the fuck out of here. Am I alone? What kind of weird shit is this guy asking? What's up, Asher? Dusty Brave Rider. What's up, what's up? Why don't I smoke weed? Because that shit makes you stupid. And it's not good for you. If I could give a 17-year-old one piece of advice, what would it be? It's a good question. And here's what I default to. Because I have a son who's just a little bit older than 17. He's 21. And I've been telling him this his whole life. Don't jump on the ride of life. Well, don't jump into the flow. And what I mean by that is, you have this societal narrative, you have family narratives, You have teachers and counselors and people who think they know better than you and tell you, no, do this, no, do this. No, nobody knows better than you. Follow your own voice, walk your own path. And the things that you need to make that happen will appear. The people you need to show up, the mindset, the attitude, the knowledge, everything will come to you when it's time. Don't get caught up in the family thing where you got to go to college. And you go to college, you pick some bullshit degree. Yeah, you do all right financially, but you really don't like it. You're unfulfilled. You know, it's 20 years. You're just sick of life. You know, you hate your job, but it's been so good. So you're kind of in the trap where I need to keep it. And believe me, you don't want to do that. Life is not as scary as people think. It's scary when you look back at 40 and realize you didn't do anything that you wanted to do, really. Now, you might have had hobbies and friends, and look, use your 20s. Either you can use your 20s to party and suffer in your 30s, or you can use your 20s to suffer and party in your 30s. And I suggest starting at 17, you start getting an idea of which direction you want to go in. People say, like, to go to college. How is an 18-year-old going to know what they want to do for the rest of their lives? How is that even feasible for people to say and think? But you can get an idea of what direction you're moving in. Take the time to work on yourself. Understand that the friends you have when you're 17 probably aren't going to be around. You might have one friend that you keep that stays, but that's your regular. And that's a good thing, because if you still have the same friends at 20-something as you did when you're 17, that doesn't mean you grew much. It means you're pretty much a 17-year-old still, mentally, financially, physically, emotionally. And it's not where you want to be. And this is actually, so I suggest you start praying. Ask God for direction. Or you maybe you have an idea of what you want to do. And start doing it. Figure it out. You'll have your whole 20s to start a business. You know, some people do well working under other people and working for people. And you can still make a good living with that. Unless you're like a CEO or something, I don't know that you can become like wealthy, but you can provide a good life for yourself by doing that. Then, and remember, don't fall into the trap where everybody thinks they know what's best for you. You may not make all the right decisions at first and everything start unfolding all at once, but you got to give it time. Nothing that's quality and sustainable in life comes fast and easy. I'm here to tell you. So, everybody has an inner voice. Everybody has this inner guide, right? But rarely do people listen to it. Rarely do people listen. As they get older, they start abandoning themselves in favor of what's being pushed on them by society, family. You know, and look, there's nothing you can't do at 17 where you can eventually learn it, pull it off, monetize it, and get to do what you love for a living. I'm not saying you might not have to do other things in between until that gets off the ground. I'm not saying that. But if you apply yourself and you apply the right principles to yourself and you start working on things at a young age, by the time you get old enough to really implement that stuff in your 20s, it's already going to have become a habit for you. And you're going to have good habits, doing productive things, discipline, integrity, certain qualities. You know, you're going to have established a good character, right? An overall good character. So don't be too quick to listen to what everybody has to say, because nobody's ever been happy living somebody else's idea of their life. And what you'll find as the years pass, it's very unfulfilling, and you'll wind up resenting yourself and that person for doing that. So hopefully that helped a little bit. Trump, buddy. Hey, Ryder. Starbedge Jen. 17-year-old, don't take yourself so seriously. Work hard, but enjoy life. Yeah, definitely enjoy life. What's up, Ryder? Thanks for that. You're a real one. A great man. 100. Thank you, bro. It did. Good, man. Good. Sound like a good kid, man. If you're 17, I don't know if you're asking for somebody else. But if anybody else here is under 18, don't tell me your age, because I don't like 18-year-olds. Younger than 18 in here. They have an option while I'm creating the description for this live. And it says, is this for 18 and under? And I say, no. It's not for under 18. I don't know how teenagers and shit get in here. I don't know. Anyway, thank y'all for coming in tonight. Proud Masculine live stream, March 28th. We're getting a late start. You know, my eyes feel puffy. I'm kind of tired. I was actually going to talk about tonight. That's a great question, Lincoln, by the way. Young Lincoln in here asked just a really good question. What advice would I give a 17-year-old? And that's where that came from. What I really want to talk about, that's something that's been on my mind today, is sometimes you got to be the bad guy in somebody else's story. You don't get through life pleasing everyone and getting what you want. And just remember, sometimes you're going to have to be the bad guy in somebody else's story to just get where you need to be. A few examples are like if you quit a job and, everybody's there. I've had this happen. And everybody is back creating the story of what happened, and it's not even close to what really happened. Then, obviously ex-girlfriends, ex-boyfriends. And some people need to have the villain to justify and validate themselves. And sometimes you're going to be that fucking villain. But at the end of the day, who cares? Who cares, right? How does it affect you? It may tarnish your reputation a little bit. But my thing is, if you know me and you know that person, and they say X, Y, Z about me, and you believe them, then what does that say about you? That tells me that's somebody I don't even want in my life anyway. If you're going to automatically take somebody else's secondhand information and use it to formulate an opinion about me, which that shouldn't matter either. Everybody's going to have an opinion about you. Does it matter? Not really. They're entitled to that. And this is what I go by. It's none of my business what other people think about me. As long as it ain't cutting into my money, my pussy, who cares? I have people that are dear to me in this life. And those people know me well enough. Well, I don't have to justify. Yes, Lincoln, I have Instagram. The link for Instagram is in the description. I also have a Telegram group, sir, where I put my lives in, because clearly I have been shadow banned by YouTube's shit. So join the Telegram group. I put the live in there every night. Then, yes, I also have membership link. The very first link in the description is to be a member of the channel. Y'all need to start signing up. Enough of this bullshit. I need some members. I need to grow the channel. It's bad enough I can't get my content out there because of one controversial expression of something I believe in strongly. And look, they did it to me a couple of nights ago. They froze my stream, dead stream. I'm going in, I seen about, I don't know, I think they had like 78 people in here, and it just stopped. The comments, the chat stopped, and the viewers started slowly ticking. And finally I realized nobody can see my stream. And then a guy hit me up on Instagram and said, yo, your shit froze. What's up, P-Dubs? Long time no see, brother. My other long lost admin, y'all. P-Dubs in the house. 6969. Salute, sir. So anyway, back to what I was saying. Yeah, that's just the way it is. That's the way, I mean, tell me you haven't had to make somebody the bad guy in your story. If it kind of leaned in your favor a little bit. I think we've all been guilty of it at some point. But the thing is, what's up, Ayush? You know, as we get older, smarter people who grow and develop into adults start seeing that to be a less than productive mentality and mindset to just blame other people involved in a circumstance. And what it turns out to be that it's more beneficial if something goes south with somebody, a girlfriend, a business deal, this or that I'm willing to take a look at what I could have done differently. And then look out for things they did, that the way I reacted, and think to myself, well, why did I respond the way I did in that particular situation? And say, you know what? That person might have been doing the best they could with what they had right then. And wash my hand. Somebody asks me about it. I'll tell you like my ex-wife. People ask me what happened, why you got divorced. Look, she's a good person in her own right. I love her. She's a good mom. We got together young. I didn't show up the way I should have in that marriage, and vice versa. So things just happen. And it got to a point where it was probably unrepairable. And that was it. You know, we both made a decision in each other's best interest to just go ahead and move it along, you know. And it wound up working out for the best. But, you know, I'm going to have my joking things to say about that, ex-wife this, ex-wife that. But I have no hard feelings with her. We did a really good job co-parenting our son, which is huge to me, probably the most important thing. We kept civil relations for the most part. We'd still have our butt heads. You know, we were married. We butted heads all the time. We'd still butt heads a little bit, but nothing destructive. And, you know, I got fired in 2020 from a job in corporate oil and gas. And, you know, I got a raw deal. But look, what's going to benefit me? Focusing on what the bad people did to me, or saying, hey, what happened, happened. I should not have done part of what I was fired for. I have a responsibility in that. I have a part in that. And ultimately, had I not done what I did, I wouldn't have gotten fired. Well, they called it a layoff, but ultimately, if I didn't, that wouldn't have happened, right? And it's just the way I choose to look at things. It's definitely a more mature and healthy approach to moving forward in life, rather than harboring all of these grudges and putting more negativity on my back and my sack of shit that I carry, because everybody carries something. We try to keep that as light as possible. I call it the sack of shit. And you think of it as this bag of old experiences and grudges and resentments and negative attitude and limited beliefs that you carry this with you every day in life. And you genuinely get weighed down for the weight of that past that you carry around with you. And for what purpose does it serve? Why would you want to take on more than what you already organically going to deal with. So the trick is to unload it, to remove and release these old things. Because the only thing that would even be considered a benefit, but it's not, is that you get to use some of that shit and play victim if something happens. And that's enough right there to screw you over, being a victim of something. But yeah, you know, and then you got to think of what's worth spending your energy and your fucks on? Trying to protect yourself with some he said, she said shit, and trying to convince people that really don't even matter in your life of some wrongdoing against you. Come on. You got too much in front of you to live like that. You have too much going on, too much in the present that you can enjoy and cherish about life, to be wasting time and energy on trying to find fault in somebody else. Keep it real. A bag of shit is currently my coworkers and my boss. So sick of the favoritism and funny business. But if they're not changing it, you're choosing it. So I'm job hunting, sick of the toxicity. There you go. I like that. If you're not changing it, you're choosing it. And I tell people that all the time. I think we alluded to this maybe last night in the chat, where somebody's going to show you a certain amount of disrespect. You're going to let it go. It's going to get worse. You can't play victim after that because you didn't do anything about it. And what you've done from there is chose to allow people to treat you like that, or person. Once you become aware of it, it now becomes a choice. When you become aware of something, like, you know, the guys I work with, this one guy had a very difficult childhood, right? And he's recognizing where some of that's rubbing off into his adult life, and it's holding him back. And you see, the thing is, where we bumped to a dead stop is when he's saying, if this, and if this, and this. I said, well, let me stop you right there. How long have you been knowing about this? Well, I kind of figured it out. I think he's 27. He started coming to him about 21, 22. I said, well, why for the last 5 or 6 years have you been choosing to hold on to this limitation? It's like, well, I said, no. I never said you put it there, but now you have an awareness. You understand that this is something that's holding you back and limiting you in life. Why are you choosing to keep it? Why do you choose to believe that about yourself, right? It's a choice at some point. You can only be the victim until you find out what it is. Then you're not a victim anymore. You're choosing that. And look, I agree. A lot of people grow up with some dysfunctional shit in their childhood that happens, that's spoken into them and beat into their subconscious, negative things and limiting beliefs. I don't deny that. But at this point, it doesn't matter. Because here's the thing. The people who put it there aren't going to take it away from you. Keep It Real says, sucks having a female for a boss. I never had any issues with my male boss. Yeah, I'll bet not. You know, it's true. Women bosses are fucking tyrants. Women are not good leaders. My son has a woman boss, and she makes his life hell. And you see, my son's at this age, you know, I talked about that the other night. He's 21. He's still just turning into a man, but he doesn't get the respect and recognition of being a man yet, like he's in a tight spot. You know, he's transformed into where he's not a little kid anymore, but he doesn't have authority, and he doesn't have say-so, and he doesn't really get to get involved with anything. So he doesn't understand the dynamic that you can take up for yourself and still be respectful. You taking up for yourself and telling somebody, whoa, don't go there. And that's being respectful, taking up for yourself. And what I've found that I've had woman bosses, we didn't get along well. They're very, what happens is these woman bosses get surrounded by the male counterparts, right? And if, like I had a, what was her title? Regional Business Supervisor, RBS. And, constant gaslighting, constant. Well, they have a position of authority now, but if I was to tell her, I'm not doing that, what are you going to do about it? Like, no. She sicks one of the upper bosses on me, one of the men. And the men come, hey, you can't do that. You got to follow rules. And she's trying hard, and she's like, yeah, well, what does that mean? Because she's got a vagina, she gets to be exceptionally bitchy and pretentious and demeaning because she can get away with it because y'all take up for her, right? And she's surrounded by guys who constantly gas her up and tell her, oh, you're doing so great. Oh, you're so awesome. And then the guys that want to fuck her, they blowing her up, inflating her ego. And nobody's telling her the truth. And she may see like a male boss where he may have come down harsh on somebody, but she makes that her default. And it's not the same. It's not the same dynamic. Women were not meant to lead. It does no good for them. They don't want to lead. They don't want to be in charge and take on. Look, I dated some women in authority positions. They would come home stressed to the fucking gills every day. Sometimes they would cry because I just can't do it. Women aren't built for that shit. Women aren't built for conflict, for heavy amounts of stress. They can put the mask on, they can wear it, but it'll eventually tear them down. If you ever meet a masculine ass woman, she's usually in charge of something. And there's nothing more unattractive than a masculine, in charge woman. Who, I dated this one girl, hot as fuck too. Very successful. And, well, yeah, keep it real. Good point, because that's not how women are built. They'll try to deny it. They'll even fight against their true nature. And they'll go against their better judgment and instincts just to prove the point and say they accomplished it and have the position, but eventually it eats away at them. And that's okay. I'm not saying that's a negative by any means. I'm really not. We had I was on the fire brigade at the refinery. I was on the rescue team, the medical team, and the fire brigade. And I was a captain. Well, we went and did a drill one day, and this chick, because, you know, you have to let the girls play too, and they couldn't do half the shit the men did. But, you know, the suck-ass fire chief made her an honorary captain for the day. We were short-handed. And was shit, and you replicate scenarios that could potentially happen in the refinery. You usually pick one per month, and then you'll do a drill on that. Like you'll get emails about, you know, propane fire in the TDU, a west wind, the road's blocked off on one side, so you got to get the fire truck around this way. Then you have to coordinate with outside parish fire departments, state police, and then coordinate. So to give you the scenario so you have a little time to practice it. And this girl fucking panicked. She started crying during the fire drill because she didn't know what to do. Crying. For a drill, like nothing was on fire. All we had to do was simulate that we got to get the truck from an alternate route. You have to play like you're on the radio with the fire chief, the municipal fire chief, letting them in the gate, getting them escorted in, calling for the other units to lend assistance or shut down a supply of fuel that's coming from another unit, just things like that. You got to get the truck in position, hook up the pumper truck to the the water supply, then run hoses, assemble teams, and then walk in together as an attack team, simulate the water being put on it and the person going in. And that's all we were doing. And one of the guys was like, where do you want us to set up? And she's like, I don't know, I can't do this. And she runs off crying. And here goes 5 dudes, hey, you did great. You tried so hard, yay. I'm like, no, you failed miserably. I don't even want you showing up if there's a fire. Not even to help. Stay in your unit. It was just pathetic. And we would go to fire school every quarter. We'd go to an outside fire school where they had these mock refinery units built in a big area with gas piped in, and they would pump diesel and they'd light everything on fire. And you had to really simulate a move. So they give her like this easy thing with 2 guys behind her on a hose. And all she had to do was turn the hose on, control the pattern. Another guy went around from the fire, blocked in the valve, and they back up. And everybody's like, great job. Look how good she did, everybody, didn't she? And everybody's got to clap. Like, get the fuck out of here. That just ain't right. It's all that about. But anyway, the bag of shit. Once you have it, yeah, that's all it was. Yes, man. It was filled with these men. Pathetic, weak men. And fellas, if there's one guy you can never trust, is a guy who will sell you down the road for pussy, to try to make you look bad, to get in your supply. That is not a man that can be trusted in any way, shape, or form. He'll give you up and cut your throat in a second. And that's what these guys were, essentially. A bunch of, I don't know, I can't even explain it. But the bag of shit. And look, sometimes you're going to get things that happen in a moment that you inadvertently throw into the bag of shit. It could be a present circumstance. It could be something that's an event with a job or a transition, or maybe you're having some trouble with the lady at home. Maybe one of your kids is acting up, and that's automatically going to go in a bag. But the thing about that kind of stuff is when you become aware that this is becoming an issue, you do what you can immediately to get that back out of the bag, and have other things that you carry with you, such as character defects, some unresolved shit from childhood, some limiting self-beliefs, like you're not good enough, you don't deserve love, you'll never get this, I'm not worthy of an amazing life, whatever these limiting beliefs that you haul around with you every day that haunt you. And as you become aware of that, and you start asking questions like, why? What is it about me that I don't feel like I deserve an amazing life? What is it about me that doesn't feel like I deserve to be loved or I'm worth it? And that's when you got to start figuring out how to get that shit out of your bag. Because if you do it for too long and you carry it, and you're using that as an excuse, that means what? You pick the victim. So you're aware of the baggage. You're aware of the useless piece of yourself that you carry around for no reason. It just holds you back and limits you in every area of life. But once you know about it, you can't say, well, I'm not a successful businessman because, I had very emotionally unavailable parents. And anytime I would say, I would express an ambition or a dream of mine, they would shoot it down. So over time, as I grew up, I learned to shut up, repress that, and just do whatever I was told. Now, if you're saying that in your mid-20s or 30s, you're not a victim anymore, Bubba. You've chosen, you made a choice to take the victim route. And nothing will ever change. Nothing. It'll only get worse. Because there's other things that happen because you're like that. Your subconscious is going to constantly put you in a position to fail and sabotage yourself. That's what's going to happen. But you can't say, like, it's not because at the end of the day, I'm going to tell you, especially as a guy, nobody really gives a fuck. That's just the truth. Now, if you're intentionally seeking some direction and some healing, they have a lot of people who help. I'm one of them. But if you have this stuff going on in your head and it shows up in your life as like you're a loser or you're an unachiever or you never measure up or you're this or that, you don't get what you want, nobody's going to come tell you, hey, man, what's going on? Did you have a bad upbringing? Did you have a dysfunctional childhood? And this goes for people who, I'm sorry to say, who it hurts my heart to say, who've been molested, who've been abused. It's still the same thing. Absolutely a higher degree. And my heart goes out to these people. They really do. I've had some experience with that, and it's different when you're a kid and you're helpless and you have to kind of just go with it. But as you get older, you don't have to carry that with you anymore. And it's more of a badge of shame and guilt than it is. But still, that subconscious view of yourself, your self-image, is going to ooze out in every area of life, particularly when it's time for you to rise up and challenge yourself and do something. You're going to have that little voice that comes in, hey, hold up. You wasn't strong enough to say something when that guy was touching your pecker. Or, you know, when something awful happened to you, or when your dad was beating you, you couldn't do anything. It makes you think you can do something now. And that's what's going to happen over time. And some people grow a fierce resentment towards it and operate and succeed in spite of that. But their life is built on the material success, the external success. But you still carry those demons. And that's the way they hide it and keep it covered up, by showing everybody what an awesome dude they are, and how smart they are, and how wealthy they are, and how many girls they got. And, you know, a lot of times it manifests itself in addiction. A lot of drug addicts. A lot of alcoholics who've had shitty fucking pasts that I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy. But I mean, the hard thing to say, the tough love thing to say is, what are you going to do about it? Are you going to use that as a crutch? Are you going to use it as an excuse to kind of sit on the sideline of life? Or do you want to do something about it? Or you want to just take hold of it and get to the core of it and get to where you need to be in life, you know? Yes, all kind of addictions. Well, that's the baggage. That's the shit bag. The bag of shit. And what a lot of people who carry that kind of stuff around with them have a low self-esteem or a low sense of self-respect. And on the adverse is they get super hostile and angry. You know, jails, prisons are full of people who've had these, not all of them. Some guys in prison had, you know, normal ass childhoods. They just made some bad decisions. But full of people who choose to, and look, some of these guys start so young, they don't even realize what they're doing. And this is why I say nobody cares, because you can't go to prison and say, wait a minute, now, I was sexually abused as a kid, and to run from that, I started doing drugs and I started stealing and I shot somebody because I needed to get my drugs. It's too late. It's not going to help you. And some people, unfortunately, don't make it to that point. And when I say nobody cares, it's because they got millions of these people running around on this planet, in this country especially, that suffer that and don't have the resources to get it looked at. You know, that's a mental and emotional health thing. And that's what you find mostly is emotionally unregulated men. Mentally unstable and emotionally unstable. Just lost. Lost spiritually. No God whatsoever. And that's usually what happens. There's a consequence for that. And look, they have some seriously resilient people who can process it, accept it, go on to have a normal, healthy family life with a wife and kids and a successful career. Some people just have that. And I don't know what it is. But I'll tell you this, everybody carries something. And the most successful people on this planet, I saw a study done that they have dealt with some form of trauma in their lives. Now, there's a dose of trauma that you get that can drive you, and there's a level where it cuts off and begins to turn destructive. And I think that just depends on the individual. You know, there's a lot of people out there with some wonderful success stories that didn't have a great beginning. So, point is, when you're aware of something, get to work on it. Don't run from it. It's not going to leave. You might be able to stuff it down temporarily. You might even be able to cover it up with the feeling of drugs and alcohol. But it'll always be there, and all it does is get stronger. The more you try to deny it, the stronger it gets. It's very powerful. Oh, man. I gotta get a new chair. I gotta get on the road with the studio, man. I've just been so fucking busy. And I got some more stuff to take out, and I'll be able to start putting the walls up and shit. But I've been saying that. Last month has been crazy busy, which is a good thing. But I really want to take the channel to a whole nother level. I really do. And with that is incorporating a studio. And what I want to actually do, I'm not going to say too much. Y'all see. But yeah, speaking of that, I need some damn subscribers and members, people to start showing up again. Y'all, do y'all ever share my videos with anybody? If you don't, please do. And I did this for a while before and it was working out, but comment in the video after it's posted as a video. So comment in the description, you know, great stream, sucked, whatever the hell you want to say, I don't care. Just show some activity. You know, a thumbs up with great stream or very informative, whatever you want to put. I'm not telling you what to write. Just something along those lines. Or leave a helpful critique. I'm with that too. But it's real easy. It takes like, 10 seconds of your time to open it up and do that. And it would help me tremendously. Really help the channel. You know, I got a lot of good stuff to say, and I want this to get to as many people as I possibly can. There's people out there that need to hear this shit. And you know what? I am grateful that as many people who have come in here and come back to report that, you know, some of the stuff they heard here and like questions they've asked live on the stream that I've addressed directly actually helped them. That feels amazing. I don't do it for the reward. I do it for the opportunity to serve God's children. Because Lord knows I needed somebody to help me when I needed it. And I did. I got help. And I don't want to see my brothers out there struggling. I don't mind you struggling a little bit, but I don't want you suffering too bad. And if there's something I can do, I want to be able to do it. That's in my nature. I'm just a naturally giving, kind person. And what's funny about that? How many people take that as a weakness? Me and Mrs. Proudmasculine were having this conversation too tonight. That when you approach somebody with kindness and respect, like they think something's wrong with you, like you're too weak to stand up for yourself or put them in place, it's baffling how many people are like that don't see that as a virtue. It's somewhat bothersome. Yeah, there you go. Keep it real said, ask me some questions. I give great advice most of the time. But the stuff I say and teach, and like I tell my clients, like, hey man, like this is like the pre-interview process. Is I ask them questions and I say, look, here's a few things you need to understand, that I'm the coach, you're the student, you're the pupil. What do you want to get out of this? And they say, oh, I want to get my girlfriend back, or I want to get in better shape. I want to be better with women. I want a different mindset. I say, okay, here's the deal. I do this little screen to say, how focused and serious are you about this? Are you willing to do anything I say without questioning it? And every time we get on, the assignments I give are completed week to week. Are you willing to do that? Yes. Okay. Not everybody does that. Not everybody gets the best result. The people who follow that to the T always get results, including myself. I'm the same way. I'm no different. But I've learned over time, when I go to somebody for guidance or help on something, I don't waste their time. And I understand you're paying me, but I'm just going to tell you, you can save your money. You can keep it, and I'll open your slot up for somebody who really wants it. If you're not going to take it serious as a life and death thing. Because people want to minimize it, but it definitely is. Who you are as a man and who you develop and become is critical to your quality of life and your potential families and kids' quality of life. And if you want to come in here taking shortcuts and telling me, oh, well, I know how to do this and I know how to do this, then just don't even come. Don't even come. If you're not going to listen exactly what I say. That's it. What's up, Chan? Said, just saw it come on a while ago. Just wanted to stop by and say hi. I worked 2 to 10 today. I'm exhausted. Just going to bed. Have a great weekend, buddy. Hope you had a good day. I did, man. I had an amazing day. And I'm exhausted myself. I feel that. Y'all hold on 1 second. Let me check something. All right. Sorry about that. Thank you. I had to check something on my phone real quick. I do these live streams off my phone. So, yeah. A little bit of a slow live tonight, but that's good. Good seeing everybody. Keep it real. Ryder, I don't know if you're still in here. How you doing with your thing? Are you still in here? She popped in and said she's back, but I haven't seen her since. All the people that started out in here are gone. I guess not. Well, I think we're going to end it there, y'all. Thank you for coming in. Hit that like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Remember to join the Telegram. Link is in the description. See y'all tomorrow night. Later.